The involvement of UAE is not the whole Emirates. It's only the ambition of the MBZ. Thanks God, these atrocities has been documented by them.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for the warm welcome here in your office in Jakarta. First of all, our conversation will be about the horrifying pictures emerging from Sudan after we see the joys of our brother in Gaza. They get at least time for relief after they get the ceasefire agreement, and then suddenly, the social media are filled with videos and painful pictures showing our brother in Sudan receiving like public execution, and this kind of crimes are being shown publicly in the social media. That later known, we know that the one is doing it like there was a militia, armed militia, and they have like a very strong power in Sudan. So, in your point of view, what is the message from this militia doing the atrocities and then publicly publish this picture to the world? What's the message from them?
Thank you very much for having me. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thanks a lot, Brother Surya, and thanks a lot for Team Tom Broadcast for giving me this opportunity. It's better to start with a little background about the reasons behind these atrocities, which has been taking place since this war erupted in Sudan by a futile coup d'etat organized by the RSF, Rapid Support Forces. And after the coup failed, they have shifted into a massive war, not against the army, but against the whole country and all its capabilities. And for us, this is not an internal conflict at all. This is not a war between the two generals, as being projected by many Western media. It is a grand agenda related to the former colonizer. Certain countries, namely the former colonizers, the British and the Americans, we have a long history that proven that, without doubt, that there is an agenda against Sudan, and this agenda is not a new one. Since the separation of Southern Sudan, and before that, since the independence of Sudan actually, the plan to dismantle Sudan and to weaken Sudan is always there. And Israel is also having a very big influence. Since early 60s and late 50s, the Mossad were supporting the separatist group in Southern Sudan. And this war never ended. Always, every time and then, it started to weaken the country. And we managed to reach a ceasefire and a comprehensive peace agreement in 2005 between the government of Sudan and the rebel in the Southern Sudan. And according to that agreement, after 5 years, a referendum should take place, whether to be part of the country or to separate. Interestingly, the leader of the rebel group, the Sudan People Liberation Movement, SPLM, the late John Garang, and he became the vice president in 2005. He toured around many cities in Sudan, and he realized that because they were fighting under the pretext that we are marginalized, the wealth is not distributed in a fair manner. We have been suffering, and all the wealth is controlled by the central government. Then he realized that even a lot of places in northern Sudan, eastern Sudan, people are living in the same abject poverty like them. And he cracked a joke, which is very known to Sudanese, because western part of Sudan, it is just like desert area. Only the river Nile goes through that area. While in southern Sudan, it is an equatorial area, and a lot of rains and a lot of forest. So he told them, you people, you are poorer than us, but you cannot fight here because there is no place to hide in the desert. While we in southern Sudan, we fought against the government for quite a long time. We have forests under which we can cover ourselves. And he started talking about one Sudan. This was against the agenda of the Western country. So in very few weeks, less than 2 months after he assumed his position as a vice president, He died in a plane crash in Uganda. And it was a mysterious incident. Nobody talked much about it, but we believe this was a planned incident. After that, his successor started talking about separation of Sudan. They supported the line of separation, and after the referendum took place, the majority of Southern Sudanese choose to be, independent country, and Sudan recognized that. So Sudan now divided between Sudan and South Sudan. Now the agenda, after that, immediately the war erupted in Darfur. During the fight between Sudan and Southern Sudan, the pretext is that this is a war between Muslims and Christians.
Yes.
While the reality in Southern Sudan itself, the majority are those who believe in pagan, and traditional beliefs. Muslims and Christians are 16 to 15%. Between them, there is not much of difference. This is according to the International Church Council census sometimes long ago. So until now, Southern Sudan, they are using Arabic as a lingua franca, like Bahasa Indonesia is a language that connect all the Indonesian. In Southern Sudan, Arabic is a language that used to communicate between different tribes, because there are a lot of tribes. The elites speak in English. The tribes, they have their own tribal languages, but the common language between them is Arabic. And Darfur, when the Darfur, problem erupted.
This was in the early 2000s, right?
Yeah, just after signing the peace agreement in the 2006 to 2007, the problems of Darfur started, to come to the media, and has been projected as if it is a big atrocities. Even it is mentioned once there is a Holocaust in Darfur. And why that is happening? Because Darfur is a huge country, a huge area of land that is almost half the size of Egypt, 500,000 square kilometers. It's more than France. It is very rich of a lot of minerals, uranium, gold, you name it. And the agenda is also to separate Darfur, like Sudan, like Southern Sudan. So this is just a background to give you who is behind this one. And recently I read an article written by Professor Jeffrey Sachs, a very prominent American professor. He talked about the role of the Western power countries, those who are former colonizers, attitude towards the global South. And he mentioned that in each country in global South, there is a big dispute. If you try to analyze, you'll find the hands of the previous colonizers. And he said it openly that we are the American, who encouraged the separation of Southern Sudan. And now the same power are doing this in Sudan. And in this time, it's become a bit different, because Israel also has its hand. Israel cannot come directly to Sudan, to invade Sudan, because this will create a lot of support from Arab countries and neighboring countries. Nobody accepts such kind of behavior. But they're using, unfortunately, UAE. UAE is a Muslim country, is an Arab country. UAE has a very special relation with Israel. UAE is the #1 ally of Israel in the Middle East.
Yes.
This is fact. So the Rapid Support Forces, it is a paramilitary group, part and parcel of the Sudan Armed Forces. And the leader of that one, General Hemeti, he's just given this rank, although he was not a graduate of a military college. And I should confess that was a political mistake, a serious mistake.
So the Sudan government also recognized that the president...
It was established during the time of President Bashir to safeguard the border, because Sudan border is huge and there is a lot of trafficking, and they use them to guard the border. And actually, they were also taking part in the fight against the rebel movement in Darfur. And unfortunately...
So they were serving the interests of the
army.
government.
They are part and parcel of the Sudanese army, because Darfur, since, as I mentioned, it's become a very unstable area. And the Western, indirectly, they supported separatist group to fight, to weaken the government. At that time, Hemeti was fighting with the army against those rebels. After the downfall of President Bashir, Hemeti became the vice president and the second man in the state. And since then, his forces grown to an extent that it's become just like parallel to the army. And from 20,000 soldiers during the time of al-Bashir,
2,000 soldiers.
yeah, 20,000 to more than 120 soldiers
Now,
during after the downfall of al-Bashir. And his forces also took part in the war in Yemen against the Houthi. And since then he started, establishing connection with UAE and with other, political figures in the region. And he has imposed full control over Darfur. As I mentioned, Darfur is very rich of minerals, and most of our gold is being extracted from that land, being sent to UAE. Dubai has the largest gold refinery, I think, in the world,
yes,
while it doesn't produce a gram of gold. And this gold mostly comes from Africa. Not through official channels always, even a smuggled one, and what they call it the blood gold. There is they're using a child, and sometimes it is looted and just stolen, whatever way. But they don't have any restrictions over that. So Sudan started just in the last 15 or 20 years. People discovered, gold. Sudan is rich of gold, and this we call it artisanary mining, because we don't. For example, in South Africa, you dig the ground for about 1,000 meters in certain area. You go deep up to 1,000 meters to extract gold. In Sudan, it's just like few meters, maybe 4, 5, 10 meters. You get a lot of amount of gold. This elementary, mining revealed that.
This only in Darfur.
Not only in Darfur, in many places in Sudan, almost all over the country, north and east and west, and many places in Sudan. Now it has become just like a big source of income to the government and to many people. And Sudan becomes the third largest gold producer in Africa.
In Africa, yeah.
And unfortunately, due to instability that took place during this interim government after the downfall of Bashir and the internal instability between the political parties, the amount of gold is smuggled. Nobody can give you an exact figure, but it's estimated to be not less than 200 tons, out of which 40% goes through the official channel, but the rest, or less than 50%, go through the official channels. The rest are, smuggled to neighboring countries, and mostly to UAE. So UAE has an agenda, apart from being, an ally, a close ally to Israel, and working with the agenda of New Middle East, according to which Israel should be the hub, economic and political hub of the whole region. There is also a private agenda of the MBZ, the ruler of Abu Dhabi. For us, we believe the involvement of UAE is not the whole Emirates. It's only the ambition of the MBZ. And
how can you separate or distinct the part of UAE, only part of UAE, the rest is not?
We're not separate, because now our relations, unfortunately, political relation is being seized for nearly 1 year. And we took the matter against them to the Security Council and to International Court of Justice. But we believe that because Sudan is the first country to recognize UAE.
The first country to recognize.
Yes, in 1971. The first visit of a foreign president to UAE was our President Nimeri. Sheikh Zayed, the first visit for him abroad, he was to Sudan. And the Sudanese role in UAE, even before the inception of the country, in 1971. And this is, people may ask why, because Sudan was a former British colony. The British were in UAE, they're the one who controlled UAE. They were advised to use Sudanese administrators and technical personnel. That's why, most of the ministries, you name it, the army, the police, the health sector, education, judiciary system, and the mayor, the first mayor of Dubai, the first mayor of Abu Dhabi were Sudanese, and the undersecretaries of certain ministries were Sudanese. This not to say that only Sudanese. Yes, there are a lot of Palestinian, Egyptian, Syrians were there, but Sudanese were taking very senior position at that time, and they were very close allied to the royal family, Sheikh Zayed and his assistants, and the closest advisor were Sudanese. This to reveal how close the relation between Sudan and Sheikh Zayed at that time. During the time of his successor, Sheikh Khalifa, also the relation went on very good. Now we have thousands of Sudanese are working in UAE like other expatriates, but UAE, I cannot generalize it UAE as, of course, the state-to-state relation is no longer politically established, but all this crazy idea is
Mohammed bin Zayed.
yeah, it started from MBZ and Dubai, Abu Dhabi, sorry. Because he is the closest ally of Hemeti, the General Hemeti, the leader of this RSF. And RSF itself, it is an organization based on a family. He, Hemeti General, and his brother Abdul Rahim, and a clan that want to control this whole massive wealth, whole power, whole personnel under him are controlled by these two guys. So for UAE and for those behind UAE, this is okay. This is our guy. He has his own personal agenda. Let's give him support, political support, more money and weapons, and he will serve our cause. Instead of controlling Darfur, come and control the whole country. That's why the coup took place in April 23, and it failed. And the idea was to kill the president and to control power over 6 hours or 7 hours. When it failed, the
president was the
General Burhan.
General Burhan.
Yes. Okay. So it has become a war, and this is not just planned by MBZ or General Hemeti. This is a grand agenda. RSF, when this war took place, they were estimated to be 120,000, but the figures estimated to be over 300,000.
No, the actual figure.
No, now there are more than 2/3 of them, I think, were killed in this. The estimated number of those who were killed in this war, not less than 200 to 250,000 by the army, and then those who are paramilitary forces supporting the army of Sudan, and the people also fighting with the army.
Well, this is since the April 2023 until now?
Until now, this is estimated number of those who were killed is more than 200 plus thousands from the RSF.
Yeah, so the rest 150 for the RSF now.
Yeah, now you cannot give during the war an exact figure, but it is estimation.
Estimation, yeah.
But what proven that RSF now is based the hardcore. Those who are fighting with RSF are mercenaries. This reveals that they don't have enough, people to fight with them. And who pays for these mercenaries? It is UAE. Mercenaries are coming from 13 countries, among them from Ukraine, and far away from Colombia. I think you have noticed this. Colombian used to, and when some of them were killed in the battlefield, and when they check their belongings, their passports, there is a visa of UAE, of Dubai, and some dirhams, this money from UAE. This reveals that just like two weeks ago, they were there, and they were killed in Darfur. We took the matter to the Colombian government, and we received an official apology from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Colombia to our ministers. And he said that we don't have any problem with Sudan. This is not in our hand and our control. Actually, this is an existential war for us in Sudan. And now, if you see the map of Sudan, 2 years ago and now, 1 year after the war erupted in Khartoum, almost RSF controlling almost more than 2/3 of the country, the capital and the central part of Sudan. Now they have been pushed, and thousands and thousands of them were killed by the army and the paramilitary forces supporting the army, and the people also who are fighting with the army. They were pushed to the western part of Sudan,
which is Darfur.
Darfur, that's the two cities, Niala and Al Fashir, was under the siege for more than 500 days, and the world was silent. They're starving the people. Nobody talk about it. Now, recently, I have read a report saying that more than 200 flights came from UAE directly to Libya, to eastern Libya, and a lot of massive support, military and logistical support, just like a lifeline to the militia. And the idea, and this is a very interesting point to be mentioned, to create an enclave, just like to be just like a situation on the ground, reality on the ground, by separating Darfur. Like what happened in Libya, for example. Libya is divided between two parts. Eastern Libya, controlled by General Haftar, who is not declared as a state, but the reality is that he's just like a state, really. He controls the wealth, the oil, and he has just like a state, real estate, but it is not recognized. But the whole world is silent because many countries benefited, getting oil from there. And the same thing now in Somaliland, this small piece of land being declared independent. Nobody recognized them, neither the African Union nor the United Nations. But still they are treated as if it is an independent state. They're doing businesses and they have their own airport, and UAE has a base there. They want to do the same thing in Darfur, and this is on the line of dismantling Sudan. So Darfur will be declared as reality on the ground. The African Union mentioned that we're not going to recognize any new state in that place, neither the United Nations, but they have established what they call a parallel government. There is a prime minister, and this government is sponsored by RSF. They call it Ta'sis. They have a prime minister. They have their own, just like a cabinet. It is just like a virtual government, and they want to impose this one as fact on the ground.
Okay.
And by the support of UAE, which is very unfortunate. That's why the atrocities, it is not new. It has been committed in Khartoum, wherever they go to any villages. There is a lot of stories. I wish a day you will come and you go to Sudan and see by the camera, not by official who talk.
That's one of the main question is how can some people they still have something in common with the many Sudanese. They are the RSF and Sudan's government, which came from the same Arab tribes. How can they be so cruel to the? What motivation? We can understand if the Israel or the Jews doing to the Palestinian, and how can this can be done?
This is a very interesting question, and it needs a lot of time to explain how deep the animosities among these tribes, among themselves, and how cruel they are when they fight against each other. And I should confess, for example, when I compare Sudan with Indonesia, Indonesia is a huge country, as it is 17,000 islands, different languages, different cultural background, different beliefs, but the leadership was wise enough to create a unity and a sort of harmony among those different, heterogeneous society, and become more, closer to each other. And now Indonesia is a nation. We're still, to be frank, Sudanese, but I should blame our elites. But at the same time, Sudan was targeted from day one. The foreign intervention and the foreign hand behind that is always there. But still, there was some mistakes because this kind of animosities were there, but it has been escalated and encouraged, by bribing others, smaller group to fight against other one. They give the armor, they give them support to seize the land of the others, and it is an ideological agenda of those clan, and they call themselves Quraysh.
Quraysh.
Yes. Quraysh is an Arab tribe in Mecca.
So they claim to be part of the
Quraysh. They claim actually, maybe the origin of them, some of them migrated, because Sudan is a melting pot of Africans and Arabs. If you go to Sudan, you find the features of the people that are very, very, different from each other. Some people look like you, some people look like purely African, some people just like colored and mixed, So those who claim to be Quraysh or the Arab origin, even their features is African, but culturally they belong to Arabic culture. They speak the languages, and they feel that they're superior than the others. And
but they are not guided by the belief of Islam.
No, Islam's all of them are Muslims, just like by name. How come you see now there are a lot of footages? They kill the innocent people and say Allahu Akbar.
Yeah, and they hang
hang a woman and her children. And thanks God, these atrocities has been documented by them. The whole world now is seeing this. It is just like life killing. and live video documented by them. Why they're doing that? This is in part of showing that they're stronger than others, and to inculcate fear in the heart and mind of others. When this video is sent by media, it goes spiral and widely spread. Whomsoever see this, this is crazy people. If they come, they will kill me and my wife, and they will rape my family. Everybody run away. So this is part of the war, game. That's why the whole world is just like saw this horrific pictures of massive killing in Al-Fashir, but it's not new. Wherever they go, they committed the same, and people flee to the place controlled by the army. And it is very unfortunate now when you see the mediator trying to equate between the national army and the aggressors, the RSF.
So this, what is the process that's happening now to make peace in Sudan?
Well, for us, nobody a rational person can refuse to come to a peaceful settlement and peaceful end of this crazy war, because it has destroyed the whole capabilities of the state. Khartoum, there is not a single factory remain, working or just like intact. Banks, factories, universities, libraries, National Archive, the museum. And it was a plan to destroy the National Archive and the Judiciary Archive to raise the identity of the people, because the plan is to make a demographic change, as I mentioned. So this massive destruction that took place in Sudan, it is estimated to be maybe a $500 billion or even more or little less. And for us, peaceful settlement is very important. But with whom to sign the peaceful settlement? This is a question, because these people are still encouraged. And recently, the UAE envoy in the UN, he said that we want to have a civilian democratic government in Sudan. Well, this is a decision of the Sudanese. Who are you to mention that? You are a mini state, mini, not the smallest, mini state.
What do UAE say that?
UAE envoy, he mentioned that, and some of their ministers, I don't know, Minister of Foreign Affairs or former minister, he mentioned that openly, Gargash. We are looking for a peaceful settlement according to which a civilian democratic government will be in the south of Sudan. Okay.
Are they supporting the previous civil emergency government that was from the Prime Minister Abdul Hamdok?
Well, this is very interesting. Hamdok is working with them.
Really? So
he stays in you. There is a center of research. Hamdok is now physically living there and staying there with them.
In UAE.
With UAE. And Hamdok is a close ally of Ta'sis. Ta'sis, this is a virtual government who's been established, although he's not part of that one, but he has, there's a political support by this group of Hamdok, which is very unfortunate. That encouraged the UAE. I think they're just like an advisor to them, to give them the advices how to impose their will over others. And when we come to talk about the peace initiative, everybody wants that, the government and people, but you cannot create a peace agreement with the aggressor. And you cannot be, UAE cannot be part of the support, just like those who are supporting the aggressors against the government, and they want to mediate peace. And the peace, they want to impose it over the will of the people. They want a political setup in which RSF and its political ally to be part and parcel of this. This will not lead to a peace. This will continuation of the war and weakening the government and to impose their will.
So and the partner for the ISF for the civilian is who is the partner?
Of course, Hamdok. Indirectly, Hamdok and Ta'sis also. This is they have, as I mentioned, they have a prime minister. They have their interim. They have a government, virtual government, and this is the other hand of the RSF. The military wing is RSF, and the civilian wing is Ta'sis, and they want this Ta'sis to be part and parcel. Imagine just like this. This is just like a colonial. They are not coming by the will of the people. They are coming by the will of others. And the idea is to weaken the country, either to collapse and create just like a situation where there is no government. Maybe the UN will intervene under the 7th chapter, or they will be having their own enclave and to loot the country. The whole scenario is behind the wealth of Sudan. That's all. The geopolitical agenda to control the Red Sea and to control the trade. And UAE is the one who's funding us like a contractor. They're spending all this money, and some of it is our gold smuggled to them. They're spending it through the RSF, but it is just like a crazy and devilish investment by killing hundreds of 50,000 innocent people and raping 1,000, 20,000 plus women. And the ultimate agenda is to impose your will over Sudan through a puppet state, just like, as I mentioned earlier, a vessel, this puppet guys, to be just ruling the country in their favor. This will never happen. This cannot happen at all.
Okay. Your Excellency, I have like 3 short last questions. The first is, we mentioned like foreign involvement that, try to disregard the Sudanese government now, like UAE and also the US and the British. They try to establish their control in Sudan, just like before. But is there any foreign or neighboring countries that support the current governments of Sudan to face those countries?
Well, Sudan's role in Africa, if you go to the history, it's a big country, Sudan, and has a lot of strong relations with neighboring countries, with the international community. Even in Africa, for example, when we go back to the history, Sudan is one of the founder of the African Union, Organization of African Unity at that time. And Sudan is one of the founder of OIC. Sudan has a very strong relation with many countries like China, Turkey, Russia, and many Latin American countries. And this Sudan is a rich country, actually. And despite the difficulties that's going on, Sudan used to have the 3rd largest military industry in Africa. Military industry. And we used to have just like self-sufficient by producing our all our basic needs. And it is assembled in Sudan with support of others, but we were building a state, despite the political differences and political difficulties and political problems due to, I should say, malgovernance. And people revolted against that, and we're aspiring to have a real democratic government in Sudan when this public uprising took place. And they're aspiring to have a peaceful transition of power. But some countries in the region, on the top of them is UAE and some African countries, which has a strong relation with the former colonies. They don't want to see Sudan as a strong country. Why? Because Sudan is so rich. If we talk about all the abundance of resources, you can read about them and Google about that. And if this country managed to stand as an economic power, it has its connection with, we are on the same line with Indonesia, for example. The Pancasila of Indonesia, we believe in that. To be an independent in our position as global south, to be closer to each other. That's why we have a very strong relation with China and Russia. And due to the fact that the Americans were always, wherever they come, they want to impose their will. And we have a very sour.
What about the support from the China and
yes, we have. That's why this Sudan now is fighting for the last nearly 3 years. We have the support of many countries, and the will is there. If you have a will to fight for your dignity, Egypt is a neighboring country. Egypt is supporting Sudan, of course, but Egypt also has its own political and economic determinants. They're not openly come in fighting with Sudan, and we are not requesting that. But there is a political support, there is a diplomatic support from neighboring countries, and we have a lot of friends with us. And as long as I mentioned, as long as there is a will to fight for your dignity, you can stand. You will find people who will stand with you. Algeria, for example, fought against France for nearly 200 years, the resistance, and they lost 1 million martyrs. So for us, we're ready to fight for our dignity. And who is behind that? This is the colonial West and UAE. And these people, they know that they cannot impose their will. like what happened in Vietnam or in Afghanistan or in Iraq. They came, they invaded Iraq and killed more than 1 million under the pretext of a big lie. You know it. But now where are they? Nobody respect. Nobody accept their agenda to be implemented in Iraq, for example, or in Afghanistan or in Vietnam.
Okay.
So we will fight for our integrity, and we are about to clear this one. And many are supporting us.
Yeah. And I also read some articles in the media that the reason that UAE is supporting the RSF because they want to marginalize the political Islam in Sudan. Is it correct?
Well, this is just like a pretext, because the so-called political Islam was resembled by President Bashir, who ruled the country for 30 years, 3 decades, and he was to be branded as a pro-Islamist and pro-political Islam. He was a very close ally to UAE. And for them, it is a Middle East agenda. Who is against that? The Islamist. I don't believe in this kind of things. Any honest Sudanese or honest Muslim or honest person from any countries in the Middle East cannot accept Israel to be just like the controller of our destiny. And then if you are a leftist, they said, oh, this is terrorist leftist. If you are having the feature of a Muslim, just radical Muslims. They want people just to follow them. And as I mentioned, UAE is the main propagator of Abraham Accord and the main ally of Israel. Who is against that? Whomsoever just having an agenda of leftist or Muslims, and because Muslim organization and Islamic movement in Sudan is deeply rooted in Sudan, and recently they said we don't want to see them on power, and in Sudan, okay, and this is mentioned in public speech. This is the will of the Sudanese to choose the communists or Islamists or whomsoever. It's none of your business. You are 3,000 kilometers away from us. You are a mini state controlled by a royal family. This is your rights. Okay, we respect that. This is your decision. There is no problem. As long as you are a stable country developing, may Allah bless you, give you more money. We work together for the development of our countries. We have to respect our differences. But you cannot impose your will. You said, no, we want to bring this secular groups who support the Middle East agenda, and we don't want to see the terrorists in Sudan. This is none of your business.
Just like they're trying to do with the Qatar when they blockade Qatar for...
Exactly. And what is the result now? It is very unfortunate, what has happened in Qatar. To see brothers, committing such an atrocities, and this revealed the mindset of these people. Are they Muslims? Are they following the Arab culture? Are they human? When a family, I heard a very horrific story. A Qatari married to UAE. He was on holidays in Dubai or Abu Dhabi during that problems. When he wanted to go back, they told him, "This is our daughter, this is our children. You go back to your country." Imagine, and they are cousins, because there is no real border. This is just like an open. The family here and the same tribe here, so the intermarriage is something obvious. And this revealed the mentality and the mindset that rules this crazy state. Who's behind this agenda? They are the one who now supporting RSF, and they claim that we want to impose peace on Sudan while they are supporting the killer and the criminals who are killing the innocents in Al-Fashir and elsewhere in Sudan.
Yes.
So they have to, I hope a day will come and wisdom prevail. May Allah give them hidayah. To think this what they are doing is something crazy. The history will keep it for them. Everybody will remind it for generations to come what's happening in Sudan because of UAE. What did we do for UAE? We did a lot of good things to them. We helped them to build a state. We helped them to become a really known nations. With the support of others that are doing good. Whatever success they achieve, we feel proud of that as Muslims, as Arabs together. Sudan is an Afro-Arab country.
Yeah.
We are. This war has raised questions about our identity, And we need to identify that in a better way and a positive way to be positively engaged around our region. This is another topic to be discussed.
Okay, so yeah, Mr. Ambassador, before the last, I asked the last questions. One question come up about the mentioning of the UAE role in Sudan. We see that the special envoy of Sudan for the United Nations mentioned clearly about the role of the UAE in this atrocity. Why this policy came up in the public stage? Is it something that Sudanese government tried to mention clearly about the involvement of the foreign entity in Sudan, or the Sudan government tried before to settle this issue without mentioning the UAE role, but they refuse to comply with the Sudanese interests?
Actually, this came after a lot of accumulation of frustration, to be frank, because initially we were not expecting UAE to be part and parcel in that one. We thought they are just like doing this for a certain period. After the coup d'etat failed, everybody, if any rational politician will think, okay, now this is agenda, it will not lead to seizing power by force. It will lead to a massive destruction of a country and massive killing of innocent people. This is from a rational, thinking perspective. But they have crossed that line. They continued their support to the militia and encouraged them to continue the support by weaponizing them by a lot of armament. Even in the British Parliament, there are recently in Al-Fashir, some of the MPs wrote letters to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, told them, don't sell our arms to UAE because this arms being used in Al-Fashir and it's being seized by the army of Sudan, our national army. The same thing in America, the Congress, and the support continued to the extent that we failed through our friends to tell them. But we have realized this is an agenda. As I mentioned, UAE has a green signal from those superpowers, the former colonizer of Sudan, and the Americans and the Israelis. They were encouraged to continue, and they have their own agenda. This crazy agenda of the Sheikh of Abu Dhabi. And we have reached a stage to cease our diplomatic relations and took the matter to the International Court of Justice and to the International Forum in UAE and in the United Nations and Security Council. But we have realized that they were protected by the British and the Americans there. And our envoy has to tell the world what's going on in Sudan, these atrocities. And they are trying, the world is trying, those in the West, they're trying to adopt a very unfair narration. They are trying to equate between the national army, our national armed forces, and the aggressors. And this is a war, they're projecting the war as if it is between the two generals competing over power. And this is distorted news, it's not the fact. Who's behind that? Of course, the UAE and the West. And UAE is always trying to propagate, this army is supported by terrorist Islamists.
The Sudanese.
Yes, the whole Sudanese are terrorists. Okay, even if they are terrorists, what is your concerning about us? This is none of your business. Okay, but this is the will of the Sudanese to fight for their dignity, to fight to protect their countries. We have the national army, we have people who are raising the arms and fighting with the army, we have paramilitary forces supporting the army. So this is just like a part of the war, political and diplomatic war against them. And a war will come again after this RSF is finished. People will take a legal war against UAE because the level of destruction that took place in Sudan is huge, and that cannot continue without just they cannot run away with that.
Okay. SubhanAllah, Your Excellency, maybe we came to the last question for us. Maybe it's not. This is last but not least. So, what is the ideal solution for this matter? What is the ideal solution? And what can we see in the near future for the Sudanese?
Well, we are very much optimistic because this war has created a shock of awareness. Now everybody in Sudan knows that Sudan is targeted because of its wealth. Sudan is targeted because of its geopolitical location. And those people who are targeting Sudan are motivated by greed. Okay, and we have to be united and we have to build our states. And in this juncture, we always need to strengthen our relations with countries that supported us and stood with us. Among them is Indonesia.
Yeah.
In this point, I would like to thank the government and the people of Indonesia, which stood firmly with Sudan. Indonesia is the only country among the ASEAN countries, and the only countries in its region that extend its humanitarian assistance. Medical support went from Indonesia by plane from Jakarta to Port Sudan.
Recently?
Many times. Okay, and this is a role of the government of Indonesia and Basnas. That means the people of Indonesia and the government of Indonesia supporting Sudan. This reveals Indonesian has an awareness of what's going on. Those who are sympathizing with the country thousands of kilometers away from Sudan reveals how strong is the feeling and the attachment between these two nations. We are really thankful for that. Indonesia also supported Sudan politically in Geneva. You know, this war is launched against Sudan not only on the ground, even in international organization, even in the Security Council, the Human Rights Commission in Geneva. They were trying to impose their will. After they failed by fighting, they want to use humanitarian aspect as a pretext to intervene in Sudan. The matter, even in the negotiations in the Security Council, to the extent that the Russian took the veto for the first time against 14 countries of the Security Council. That was last year, October, to stop and sabotage and just to prevent this vicious agenda against Sudan. So Sudan, inshallah, is going to be open. Sudan is a rich country. Now it will be open to our brothers, those who are stood with us. As this is being said, a friend in need is a friend indeed. So Indonesia is one of the countries we are aspired to have our relation elevated to strategic partnership. Indonesia, President Prabowo is talking about the food security. Sudan is one of the countries has capability to form a strategic partnership to achieve that goal. Indonesia now is part of the BRICS. And Indonesia is aspiring to be, within few years, the 5th largest economy in the world. That means Indonesia is going to be open to Africa. Africa is 54 countries, 1.4 billion population. And Indonesia is the leading country in halal economy. The opportunity to come to Africa is huge, and Africa has gateways. Sudan is one of those gateways to Africa. You know, Sudan is, as I mentioned, it's a very big and very influential country. And when we form the strategic partnership, we can have a lot of common benefit to be shared with Indonesia and with other friendly countries. So once again, we would like to send our heartfelt thanks and gratitude to the government and people of Indonesia for the support, and can assure you, Sudan will stand up and it will be a strong country in the region and among the ASEAN and the world in Africa also.
Yeah. I hope all the best for the people of Sudan that currently endure the suffering from the RSF.
Inshallah, this is a part of our struggle. To be strong, always we have to sacrifice. And those who are committed this aggression, they will learn that they have made a big mistake. And the history will not at all excuse them. And a day will come, and they have to pay the price for this mistake. Especially our brother. You know, this matter it will be taken to. There have to be a settlement. If I talk on behalf of many Sudanese, this is what our people feel, that because the damage that took place in Sudan, there is no excuse. Why this is happening? Why are doing that to Sudanese? It's not a war between armies. It is people, properties, people belongings. Everything is destroyed. Why? What is the reason behind that? There is no excuse. So we have to find a way of settlement. in the
Do
future.
you see the settlement for the near future?
We don't know exactly when, but the day will come, because this cannot be left, without, just they cannot run away with that one. Even after 10 years or 20 years, this will continue, the demand, and they will come, of course, a rational and wise leader in that country who will realize that it was a mistake, and we have to compensate our brothers. This is something, even from a legal perspective and humanitarian, and from Muslims or whatever moral value govern us, it has to be accepted for us, because we suffered a lot without any justification. So this is it has to be solved in a way that is acceptable for the Sudanese.
Thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
شكرا. بارك الله فيك. Thank you very much. حياك الله.